afternoon. You're watching NewsX. I'm Meenakshi Upreti. In the top focus of this bulletin, Nari Shakti has been chosen as the Hindi word of the year 2018 by Oxford Dictionary. The announcement was made during a session at the ongoing Jaipur Lit Fest at the Diggi Palace. According to the Oxford Dictionaries, the word has been derived from Sanskrit and is used today to symbolize women taking charge of their life. March 2018 recorded a large spike in the use of Nari Shakti as discussions arose around the government of India's Nari Shakti Puraskar, which was held on International Women's Day. The word was selected by Oxford Dictionary of India with the help of an advisory panel of language experts, including Namita Gohale, Ranthir Thakur, Kritika Agrawal and Saurabh Dwivedi. And Brinda Diggi, social activist, joining us on that big story. Thank you, ma'am, and good afternoon. Welcome on NewsX. So your first reaction to Nari Shakti being chosen as the Hindi word of the year by the Oxford Dictionary?
Most prestigious, and I think every Indian, every woman across the world would be very happy that this word has been selected and chosen by the Oxford Dictionary. What we also need to realize is Shakti per se by itself is a feminine word. Adding Nari to it probably just reiterates that this word is to be not only used but recognized and acknowledged, that there is no doubt the woman is strength and woman is power.
But would you say, ma'am, many are saying it's just symbolism and a lot more needs to be done as far as empowering women, especially in India, is concerned? Would you concede with that line of thought, which is also, going on simultaneously? You concede with that line of thought, which is also, going on simultaneously?
Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. That is why I said it is starting to be important, because there is a recognition and an acknowledgement. An acknowledgement that women are power, that women are strength, which India, because of its patriarchal mindset, its misogyny, chauvinism, refuses to accept, refuses to acknowledge, continues to say that my religion and culture must subdue the woman. It is only this good woman that has been defined by the dominant male who will go to heaven. And this good woman has to only do things that this patriarchal man is talking about. So having the word Nari Shakti per se is okay. Oxford Dictionary has accepted it, looked at it, that is good. That what you are saying is, it is bringing India and Indian vocabulary and Indian language and Indian women to the forefront. But a lot has to be done in India itself, starting with the politicians, starting with the bureaucracy, whose misogyny and sexism doesn't seem to end on any given day.
Absolutely. And ma'am, before I ask you the next question, I'd just like to tell our viewers that our call-in lines are also open. You can call in and express your views on what you really have to say about Oxford Dictionary choosing Nari Shakti as the word of the year. Do you think it's mere symbolism, or do you think it's a step in the right direction? Brinda Diggi is, of course, still live with us on the broadcast on that extremely special story. Ma'am, while we are definitely acknowledging that there is a need to do a lot more as far as women empowerment is concerned in our country, but certainly it is a step in the right direction, recognizing the power of women.
Yes, it is a step forward in recognizing the power and the strength of women. It may be symbolism, it may be a vocabulary, it may just be a phrase, but let's put it on record that this is a step forward for the world recognizing something like this. Now, that doesn't mean that just because Oxford Dictionary has recognized this phrase, that everything is hunky-dory in India. What we need to tell is, there is this word now that has gone into the dictionary, and it is time for India, its people, its policies, its structures, its politicians, the bureaucracy, and all of the people over here, that women, their power, their strength, their rights and equality be recognized.
Absolutely. Even though the word has been recognized by the Oxford Dictionary, you rightly mentioned, ma'am, a lot more needs to be done to empower and in fact make women feel safer in our country. But would you agree that it's extremely significant, especially, that the fact that this recognition of the word Nari Shakti has come at a time when the Me Too movement has reached India. It was really at its peak, and we had seen women from various walks of life, various professions who really came out, and showed exemplary courage by sharing their Me Too stories?
You're absolutely right. At this moment, it is a very, very significant move. It is a visibility. It is highlighting this entire issue, whether it is Me Too or the other issues that have been coming up, where women have been asking for the right to pray in every temple and mosque, where women are saying that the church cannot be just held by the male clergy. It is a significant move. But let's not forget, simultaneously, parallelly, that this significant move by the Oxford Dictionary should not undermine that a much more realization of the implementation of safety, of protection of women is a long way, and that needs to be done now, today.
Right, point taken, ma'am. As you mentioned rightly, that while the inclusion, or rather conferring this honor on the word Nari Shakti, declaring it the word of the year, is certainly commendable. But at the same time, what do you think the government needs to do to ensure, that there is an on-ground implementation as far as empowerment of women is concerned?
To begin with, to recognize, the government is still not recognizing that budgetary allocations need to be made if you want to implement all of these nice stories that are being told, all of the policies and laws that get amended. There needs to be budgetary allocation, there needs to be accountability.
Right.
There is no responsibility that is fixed. If you look at just the Domestic Violence Act, even though it talks of a 48-hour interim order that should be given by the judge,
right,
it doesn't happen.
I'll come back to you, ma'am. We have a first caller. Mr. Deepak is calling us. Let's listen into what he has to say, and then I'll come back to you. Yes, sir, go ahead. Your views on Oxford Dictionary choosing Nari Shakti as the word of the year.
Hi, as a citizen of India, what I think is we need to look at it from dual perspective. Perspective number one is the increasing empowerment of women, the increasing involvement of women into various sectors, that being recognized globally. And point number two, perspective number two is that from an Indian's perspective, an Indian word and multiple number of words getting included into the Oxford Dictionary is really a matter of pride for every Indian, in fact. So this is my take, that we need to see it from dual perspective.
All right, thank you for calling us, sir. Brinda Diggi, you just heard what our first caller had to say. Of course, while people are, of course, taking pride in the fact that the woman of India, today's woman, is really taking charge of their lives, is speaking about their rights. But as you were pointing out, implementation really is the key when we speak of empowerment of women. This has to go beyond mere symbolism. Conferring or calling Nari Shakti the year of the word is commendable, but really on-ground implementation is what the government needs to look at, isn't it?
Absolutely right. This may be the word of the year, but what is the government doing? What are they accountable? Are they taking responsibility for the safety, for this protection, the empowerment and enhancement of women? Are they taking responsibility for gender equality? Because if you see, they only keep making all kinds of statements and all kinds of announcements, amendments and policies. But even till date, we are seeing that our courts are not functional. We are looking at a prosecution that does not do a good job. We are looking at all the so-called empowerment programs that do not reach the last woman, and this responsibility is not taken up by the bureaucracy, by the system, by the politicians. They continue to be sexist. They continue to be misogynist. They continue to use words that are derogatory to women. And that is what the responsibility is all about in this democracy, where 50% or more of the voters are women.
Right, but now would you say at least that the narrative is in the right direction? One of the reasons why Oxford also chose Nari Shakti as the word of the year, according to what the explanation coming from Oxford side, is that Nari Shakti was one of the most used words in 2018, and discussions arose around the government of India's Nari Shakti Puraskar also, which was held. Would you say that at least by choosing Nari Shakti as the word of the year, the narrative has been set in the right direction?
Yes, the narrative is certainly set in the right direction. There is no doubt about it. But what is missing? Has every voter become so confident to say that I feel safe? Because this feeling of safety is not there. It is hollow. There is no feeling of safety. There is no confidence that I can actually go out onto the streets or be in my home and live a life of dignity without violence. Now that is something that has not been guaranteed by my government, by my system, by my laws. They've kind of pronounced a lot of stuff, but it is not there for women. And that implementation is what is being challenged by women across India, for women and children in India, because the politicians are not doing their job. The bureaucracy is not doing that job. This narrative is certainly going on the right path, is probably started off very well, but if you look at every case every day that is getting reported, you look at the high incidence of numbers of violence on women and children. Now this is only the reported cases. So many unreported cases are still there. Domestic violence is still not considered as something that needs to be reported and the police to take action, or for the judge and the magistrate to give a 48 hours interim order of protection for the women. If this is the case of India, then what are we talking about when we say that we are happy with the Nari Shakti Puraskar, or with the Nari Shakti being the word of the year in the Oxford Dictionary? It is good, but it is not enough. It is probably just the first step.
Yes,
they have a long way to go, and they need to start
beginning
on that path today.
So, ma'am, would you say that at least it's a start? At least it's a start. I mean, the Oxford Dictionary also said that the word symbolizes taking charge of their lives, literal translation. So would you say that the women of today at least has started taking charge of their life? We spoke, of course, of the Me Too movement, where women came out really with the horror stories, what they had suffered. Then we had the Sabrimala protest, an all-women contingent, the IAF at the Republic Day, something which makes, the women feel proud. The fact that this word at least has been chosen, Nari Shakti has been recognized, at least the recognition has begun.
Absolutely, a recognition has begun, the narrative is on the right path, but again the onus is being placed on women. Take charge of your life. Now how can we take charge of our life when you seem to pull strings from every corner? When you are not making those spaces available for women to take charge.
Absolutely, that is a pertinent point you're raising.
When you keep putting a barrier at every step.
Right, that's a pertinent point you're raising, and Anila Singh of the BJP is also joining us on the broadcast on this big story. Anila Singh, thank you for joining us. First of all, of course, you heard what Brinda Diggi had to say. Activists are now saying, while it's all good that, the word Nari Shakti has been recognized, it is a step in the right direction, but a lot more needs to be done. As far as implementation is concerned, women of the country need to feel safer, and your government needs to do a lot more. How do you react to that?
First of all, this is a moment to feel very proud to be an Indian, especially if I talk about Indian women. I can say Nari Shakti, like it is been inducted in Oxford English Dictionary. So definitely I'm very proud about it, and I congratulate all the Nari Shakti of our country. And secondly, it is the duty of any government, whether in center or in the states, that they should take care of the law and order in their respective areas. And especially if we talk about the women, the way women crime is rising in different states, in different areas, it seems that still much more has to be done. Like Constitution gave us the right of equality, but in real sense, Nari Shakti again has to do lots and lots of struggle, and we have to fight for our rights, because I'm pretty sure that the fear which prevails in the minds of the men, I can say, They don't allow to give us a space very easily. But God has given us that type of strength that we know that how to carve out space for us. We have been struggling and fighting for our right, which the Constitution has given us. And because of this fight, this strength, which we have shown continuously above everything, above caste, religion line, above political line, above social line. This is the reason Oxford has recognized our Shakti, and Nari Shakti has been introduced in its dictionary. So I strongly believe what Brindaji has said. Yes, all the governments, they should take care of they should take care of women in their area. And yes, whether it is men or women also, we all should work together to make this country a better place to live. And without the participation of women, nothing can be completed. So, especially like if we talk about our culture, married, if a woman is married, she is called adhangani. It means आपके शरीर का आधा अंग अगर वो बराबर का नहीं होगा तो वो body
I get your point. So you're saying why this is a matter of pride, the fact that of course Nari Shakti as a word has been recognized by the Oxford Dictionary, and women of the day have started taking charge of their lives. You think as a society there is a societal and a bigger change which is required over and above the politics, as you're pointing out. Law and order is a state subject because many would say end of the day the onus to make women feel safer, to make women feel empowered, the onus end of the day lies with the government, the state as well, but the center too.
Every government, whether center or the state, I said this thing in the beginning only. It is the duty of the government to take care of the citizens living in the area under their government. And more of women, I can say, because, this is a sad part of the society, not only in our country, but pan-world, that women are objectified. They are taken as an object. It seems majority of the men, not all, but the majority of the men, they think that we get successful because of our looks, not because of our brain.
So why don't I take your reality is? So why don't I take your reality is? Right, why don't I take your point ahead? And of course, Brinda Diggi is with us. Brinda Diggi, you could hear what Anita Singh had to say. That, of course, I believe she's speaking more as a woman than as a politician today. It is a moment of pride for any woman, the fact that Nari Shakti has been recognized by the Oxford Dictionary. But would you concede, as we were discussing earlier, have the women of today started taking charge of their lives, or would you say a lot more needs to be done, not just as a societal change, but even by the politicians and the current dispensation, state and center both?
Let us place on record, women have always been ready and always taken charge of their lives. Every Nari understands and accepts her Shakti. The problem is this patriarchal society, the mindset, the misogyny and chauvinism that continues to subjugate and oppress the woman to say that whatever is your Shakti, you are a Nari. So keep it controlled, keep it contained. I will keep you in control. And that is what is the battle and the struggle, like Madam Anila spoke just now. The struggle is that these spaces are not being allowed to be taken up by women. Women and their Shakti has been recognized by every woman. It is the little reservations that come in.
So because of which women have come.
And we have thought the winter session went by without the women's reservation bill being given any kind of a
Anila Singh, you can hear, absolutely, Anila Singh, you can hear what activists have to say. You're speaking of Nari Shakti. Yes, symbolism is great. The fact that it has been recognized as the word of the year is something, it is a moment of pride for all the country, all the women of the country. But what about the politicians? Political classes, all the parties, we've not been able to pass the women's reservation bill till date. We've been speaking about it for how many years, but nothing really has been done about that as well.
Please seek this bill to come into Parliament, get discussed, and bill to be passed. I'm telling you, it is not Anila Singh from Bharatiya Janata Party. It is about each and every women politicians, and not only women politicians, but
all right, but okay,
all
not as a
women of this
politician,
country.
would you say that the women's representation needs to be a lot more, and there is a need for our parliamentarians to pass the women's reservation bill?
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. Our parliament is deprived of women representation, not only parliament but respective assemblies also in the states. They are deprived of women representation. And I tell you, women, like if you talk about the type of mindset women has, I mean, she is an excellent manager. She knows that how to tackle different problems at one time. This is the type of strength and power which has been given to us by the God. So it is God gifted. But I can say sadly, it is not in the priority of any of the political parties, the women reservation bill,
including yours.
But at the same time, I just want to add one more thing here. When Narendra Modi ji became the Prime Minister of our country, the first thing which he declared was Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And he said that we need more girl power in our country. And he introduced different good social schemes in our country to strengthen the power of the women, children, and girl child. And
right. All right. Thank you, Brinda Diggi and Anita Singh, for joining us. Apologies, I have to interrupt you there.